It is the Mosley Show, and we've got a lot for you today, and got a really good interview with a Hall of Fame writer coming up at 2:30, where we'll discuss a documentary. We're going to be in town tomorrow. We will be in Waco, and we'll be excited to share some getting ready for that World Cup soccer. And that will be great. And we'll be 4 to 6, a special show tomorrow. We'll be at the Dancing Bear Pub. And Kev, I've been checking in with our people. I'm told the kit is ready. The kit, that's kind of has soccer. That kind of has a soccer thing. So Paraguay and the Americans, that game starts at 8. Our show will be from 4 to 6. Scotty Swingler, my old producer, Kev, reached out, said he's going to stop by. We're going to have a lot of people from Waco wanting to stop by and be part of that scene over there. And then the big game starts at 8 o'clock at Dancing Bear Pub. It's going to be a scene. And we've got the head of the Waco Soccer Club that they like to get together, have various watch parties and that kind of thing. So he's going to stop by. And of course, we'll talk about kind of what they're up to, but we'll be publicizing the big event right there at the Dancing Bear Pub. It's just right down from campus. What is that, Bagby or James? It's right down If you turn off from Collins, you turn right on Bagby. It'll just be down there on your right. And I'll get you the exact address at some point during the show. But we'd love to see you. Just put it in your GPS. Just put Dancing Bear Pub. And that's where we'll be doing the show tomorrow. And I'll hope that, maybe my own nephew will stop by, Baylor student who's working there in town this summer for I think, insurance firm or something like that. Anyway, we got a lot going on. And but Kev, let's first do what we need to do. And I just was in a state of shock like a lot of you were. I'm glad, Kevin. I mean, I would have understood. There's some people that probably went on about their night. Just like, even in the fourth quarter, there was early in the fourth quarter of game 4 in the NBA Finals, there was a 20-point deficit. About 9.5 minutes left, 10 minutes left. It's like, they'd made a little bit of a run to get back within 15 at the end of the third quarter. And you just kind of thought, they're not going to do this. They're not going to do this. And even I looked up and it was 99-90 with like 4.5 left, about 4.5 minutes left. And Brunson pulls up and hits a 3, and that gets it to 99-93. And Fox hit a 3 at one point. Wemby actually hit a shot with about 3.5 minutes left. And you kept thinking, okay, they faltered. They've obviously given up a lot of this lead, but surely they won't cough up the whole thing. And much like we saw with the Cavs, they absolutely did. And Kev, I would say, the most momentous collapse really in NBA history. I'm not saying there haven't been bigger leads blown, but on that stage, game 4, about to tie that thing up at 2-2, a 29-point lead is what the biggest lead they had. So they're almost up by 30. And even in the second quarter, I looked and it's like 59-34, and I kind of started to think about what I wanted to do with the rest of my evening. And fortunately, I kind of hung in there because, you just never know. You just kind of want to see what happens. And again, incredible things. I don't want to take anything away from the Knicks, but Kev, and Barkley said it best last night, for that to happen, you have to have the other team help you. I mean, it's great, and you can do a whole bunch of things, and it does take a bunch of big shots. And Anunoby's shot at at the end with 1.2 seconds left. The follow was incredible. And, it was, there they are. I mean, but again, it shouldn't have come to that, but it did. And so down one, and I don't even know if they should have been able to, they got that. San Antonio took a foul up around half court. It looked like Alvarado that looked like a backcourt violation. I mean, he dribbled across and then dribbled back across midcourt. I mean, there were so many things that happened there, Kev. There's a lot of different ways to discuss this game, but there's Anunoby, Indiana's own. OG Anunoby threw the ball in. Okay, so there's about, when they called that timeout, there's about 7 or 8 seconds left. Okay, when they start this play, Brunson gets the ball. Brunson thinks, well, this is the best shot I'm going to get, and launches one from deep, hits the front of the rim. In that time that Anunoby threw the ball in to Brunson, he's over there at the 3-point line, basically like, I'm open. Give me the ball. And he was. That would have been a great shot for the Knicks to get. Brunson went ahead and shot it. Anunoby, as he sees the shot going up, goes racing in after he delivers the ball to Brunson, and nobody checks him up. And here he comes above everybody. There's the shot. There's the unbelievable shot. Where's Wemby? He was out there trying to challenge Brunson's shot. And that is, I mean, generally, if you've got a 7'5" man, you'd like him to be down there around the rim. But also, all eyes were on Brunson. And it was probably smart to get the shot up so that you had a chance at the rebound, which Anunoby made an unbelievable play on. Now, Kev, I'm glad you had that. Do you also have, and we can just talk about it if you don't, I mean, again, there's a lot of bad things that had to happen. Let's not take Wemby off the hook here. There's like 9 of 10 shots that he missed in the fourth quarter. If you look at his shot chart in the fourth quarter, this guy ends up 9 for 25. He was having a fine game. Through 3 quarters, got like 22, got about 20, he's having a fine game. They get in the fourth quarter, and I don't know if he was worn down. They played him a ton. They never sat him down, even when they had like a 25-point lead. Obviously, at one point, they had a 29-point lead, but they didn't give him any rest. There it is, Kev. That's the Wembanyama shot chart in the fourth quarter. And hey, you got to do a bunch of bad stuff before you can then do the really bad stuff at the end of the game. Minute 47 left. This unbelievable comeback is in full bloom. He goes up to the line. He's going to get 2 shots. He misses both of them. He looks extremely scared. Look at that before that, though. Missed jump shot, missed alley-oop. He made 1 2-point shot with 3:33 left. And I did think, well, that's a big shot when he hit it. I mean, same thing I thought about De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox spent much of the second half turning the ball over, making poor decisions. But again, Wemby is the face of that thing. Wemby is their hammer. Wemby is the guy we were talking about, the new face of the league, the best player in the league. We were almost ready to hand him that moniker. And then he pulls off one of the worst fourth quarters you could ever possibly have. I can find one made free throw, and I can find that one made bucket
Well, no, he had another made bucket with 9:35 left. That was a good one. I think that's the one he kept tipping back in, and he showed a lot of great effort, and he has the ability to get back up on a second jump, and that was like a third jump to put that one in. I think that's the one he made 9:35 left. It's a big shot with 3:35 left. But we're going to talk about Brunson missing a bunch of shots and being inefficient and everything. That's about as inefficient a fourth quarter as you will ever see. I mean, that right there is rough. And so I just wanted to hit on that before we talked about De'Aaron Fox. About 15 seconds left. Spurs clinging to a 1-point lead, and Brunson goes in, tries to throw one off the glass. It goes hard off the glass. Ball gets popped out, and here is De'Aaron Fox, who thinks he's off to the races. Now, again, they're up one, and with about 10.2 seconds left, he's off to the races. Well, he's off to the races with about 15 seconds left. I'd love to see this one too, Kev, if you can grab the highlight of this one. I love the highlight you had of the other thing. But Fox decides, I think he thought he was really in the open floor. Now, why he had any kind of delay, the minute he had any kind of delay, he let Anunoby back into this play, and he needed just to dribble the ball back out, try to waste a little time, and then he would have gotten fouled. And then you have a good free throw shooter down with up one, going to the line, going to the free throw line, probably with about 7 or 8 seconds left. Instead, Anunoby hustles back and makes what at the time was the play of the game. I mean, Anunoby's awesome. He had another big three late. Every game you look, he scores 32. I mean, you're going to have an interesting argument. I think they'll probably give the MVP, the MVP to Brunson because his overall body of work or whatever. But you could totally make a case for OG.
What did I say?
What's that?
What did I say yesterday? If the Knicks are gonna win, what do they gotta do? This guy. That guy.
But you didn't think they would have to be doing it from 29 down. Nope. From 29 points down. It took one of the most
he's the only person he's the only person in this finals who has won a championship before. If the saying, if you're gonna act like you've been there before, he can act like he's been there before because he has. That's the best way to act like you've been there. Be there.
He's an incredible player, and he got back and he blocked that shot. But let's just say the obvious. One of the all-time dumb plays. And, Barkley could not have said any better. We'll check in with Barkley at some point during the show. Because I thought the broadcast, Kev, missed it last night. Breen's, I love Breen, and I like Legler. I even like RJ. RJ takes a lot of heat. Richard Jefferson played some with the Mavs at one point. I think they're fine. I think they're fine. Are they the best? Like, would I rather had Van Gundy? Absolutely, because he would have called Fox out. That was an enormous play in that game, and they just basically didn't bring it up that Fox made a really bad mistake. First of all, he kept turning the ball over, and he was not great in that second half. And then instead of just dribbling the ball back out and making them foul him, he goes for the shot. He gets it blocked, and then here come the Knicks the other way. Now, whether or not Alvarado, who also made some big plays, Whether or not Alvarado had a backcourt violation there, I'm not sure what that. I mean, I think you totally could have called backcourt on him. But the refs were messed up there because I don't think they knew if the Knicks were going to call a timeout. First of all, I don't think the Spurs needed to take that foul right there. They were either going to call a timeout or they were discombobulated because the Spurs actually were back, ready to play defense. And I thought the Knicks were kind of like in a helter-skelter mode. So they end up taking the foul right there. It was all messed up, but it was a bad play by De'Aaron Fox. And I just,
do you want to see Barkley?
Okay. Kevin, this is important because the guys on the broadcast did not call out Fox for the huge play. And if not for all of that, if not for that dumb play, and again, even if he makes both free throws, yes, the Knicks could have come down and hit a three. Who knows? But it would have put so much more pressure on them. Now, it still took Anunoby making an unbelievable play. But the guys on the broadcast whiffed. They didn't talk about that huge play by Fox at any point in the post-game talk and everything. And so they left it up. We had to switch back over to ESPN. And we didn't get anybody truly calling out the Spurs and calling out Fox until Barkley. And thank goodness, because Kenny, the Jet Smith, was wandering around trying to praise the Knicks. And it took Barkley. Kenny's not wired to say what you need to say in that moment. Barkley is. Here is Charles Barkley. We've been waiting, and then finally someone brings up what they need to bring up, and that is the idiotic nature of the way the Spurs played that second half. Here is Charles Barkley talking about it.
The dumbest basketball team in the history of civilization.
Oh, wow.
We saw they had a 25-point lead. Took eight straight threes. Like, they thought to get, like, that was some of the most mismanaged, stupid basketball. Hey, when you blow a 29-point lead, the other team has to help you. The San Antonio Spurs helped the New York Knicks win this game by doing some of the stupid-ass stuff I've ever seen on a basketball court.
Congratulations to the Knicks for coming back, but Chuck, I agree with you. They played terrible basketball. They got comfortable. They got comfortable with the league. They was already talking about, going back to San Antonio. They just didn't play smart. And, you never know what a champion is until you become a champion. But tonight, the Knicks, they fought like a champion.
They did.
Listen, we're sitting back there in the third quarter, and Shaq goes, these guys got to put them away right now. Second quarter, they got to put them away right now. They start letting them make the run towards the end of the second quarter. The Knicks kept fighting. They go back 26, cut it to 19. They got back in that third quarter. Once they cut it to 12, this game was a wrap.
But Trey, when they had the 25-point lead, they shot 8 threes in a row. Never even came close to using any time on the clock. And you're like, this game ain't over yet.
And then he goes on to take Fox to task about we needed it. We needed Barkley there because the guys on the broadcast, they whiffed. I think they've done a fine job. It's not like I dislike them at all, but you've got to in those moments, and that's when you need a coach. You need like somebody Van Gundy who doesn't mind being critical. Some people hated Van Gundy. I thought he was kind of funny in that cranky old uncle kind of way. I enjoyed him. Now I did not like Mark Jackson, but I really missed Van Gundy in that moment.
I was watching this and I was just going, what are you doing? Just dribble the ball out. What are you even thinking? Even if it's relatively close at all. Just, even if it's not, all you have to do is dribble it out. You have the lead. Make them play you. Terrible.
The only way you go ahead and take that 3-point lead there is if like no one's within 20 feet of you and you go in for a dunk or whatever. I could be fine with the certain score. But to your point, because you still have to make 2 free throws if you don't.
Do it then, because you're talking about time. You have time on your side. There's
I know.
No play
I know,
clock.
but you still are going to end up having to make the free throws and make them foul you. Okay, that's a fair argument. What we can't argue about is like once Anunoby was like fairly close, and I think he felt him coming, and I think he got a little nervous, and that's why he didn't go as fast as De'Aaron Fox. He may be a little bit still banged up, but at one point there was almost nobody in the NBA who could go baseline to baseline faster than De'Aaron Fox, and he gets the thing blocked. And I mean, New York was in a panic still. Alvarado has the ball, and you can kind of tell what Alvarado's thinking. Like, I got to get this ball to somebody else. He was good, by the way. He had a big 3. He had a layup. Like, Alvarado, who only played like 16 minutes of the game, was a big part of what happened down the stretch. But he didn't want that ball in that position, because it's like 6 or 7 seconds left, and he's thinking, wait, where's Brunson? Who can I get this ball to? Where's OG? I don't need the ball in my hands. And that's how he almost got himself called for a backcourt. Kevin, when I looked at the replay of that, that's a backcourt violation, isn't it? I mean, he came across and then he dribbled back across half court, midcourt. I mean, I know there's some interesting. It's not as easy as a call as people think, because your whole body needs to be across it before you can go back. But Kev, that looked like a backcourt violation to me. But I think the refs got so caught up in what was that the Spurs were trying to take that. So they're probably trying to call a timeout, and they're trying to take a foul. There's a lot happening there. But
Mike Brown complained about the refs the game before, so he could get that call in that moment.
Didn't the refs miss that call? Didn't that look like a backcourt to you?
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, by the way, Kev, while you're here.
Yeah.
With 1.2 seconds left, Castle came free on that back door. That was a pretty good looking play. And
did Towns tipped that ball?
Yeah. I meant to show you that. Somebody I was trying to think. I retweeted it, so take a peek at my timeline. But they had a better shot of it, and they slowed it down, and you can see Towns go up and tip the ball, and that's why it fell so short. But I think Harper was the one throwing it in.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, what were they doing? Who was over there guarding the inbounds pass from OG when OG threw it to Brunson before he came in? And was Fox over there? Think about what he was allowed to do. He was allowed to throw. He was allowed to throw the ball in, go set up at the 3-point line, go, hey, I'm open. Right. I'm open. Brunson shoots the ball, and then he goes racing in for the follow.
Right.
Like, nobody ever checked him. Like, how does
Anunoby did the inbound and then ran a wheel route to get the tip in, essentially.
But, like, don't we always say the inbounder is the most dangerous man or woman on the court?
Yep.
So nobody thought that might be a good idea to check him up. And by the way, that was almost like Jordan-esque. Like his hang time, he was way up there. I mean, think about who tried to get involved in that play. It's not like they didn't have some athletes around there. Kevin, would it have been nice for the Spurs to have a 7-5 man maybe hanging around there? Would that have been like, wait, let's see where Wemby comes from. Can you rewind that? Let's see where Wemby. Oh, Wemby's out there. Okay, here comes Wemby. Look, there he is. He just arrived. So Wemby's out there trying to challenge that shot from Brunson. Can we see that one more time, Kevin? I just want to see. Can we even see Brunson? Okay, yeah. I mean, it was a decent challenge by Wemby out there, but it opened up the entire lane for Anunoby. You can't really do what Anunoby did if Wemby's standing down there. Now, maybe if Wemby, you say, well, Brunson would have had a better look at the shot with Wemby not challenging. And you're right. Would you rather Brunson have a little bit of an easier three, or would you rather let a man come wide, stinking open through the lane? It's one of the greatest tip-ins. The greatest tip-in / sort of dunk-in was NC State in 1983 championship game. This was maybe one of the greatest ever NBA tip-ins. I'm just trying to remember, somebody having a better one than this. I mean, because most unbelievable shots, I'm thinking of Jordan shots, they were jump shots. He put one on poor Brian Russell, and then he got one on Elo, were the two biggest that come to mind.
I think what was great was Anunoby seemed like he had Jokic level of apathy toward the whole thing. Yeah, everybody's excited. I'm excited too. Let's move on to the next game.
I think he's a cool customer, man. I think OG Anunoby. Not everybody's built for this. De'Aaron Fox does not seem to be built for this. What did you see that one tweet, Kev? It was kind of funny. You could take the man out of Sacramento, but you can't take the Sacramento out of the man. Talking about Fox. He was a really good player in Sacramento. He's had his moments in this series, but overall he's not been great. Just awful.
Did you see the tweet I sent about the U.S. men's national team and their watch party?
Yeah, what was...
So Tyler Adams is a lifelong Knicks fan from
the
men's soccer team.
Yeah.
And so this was their reaction for their watch party that they're having in L.A.
Wait, which one is he?
Right.
Did they dogpile him?
You'd have thought he had actually just scored a game-winning World Cup goal the way they were doing it.
Dude, you know what my thought was there? That guy climbing up on the back of that couch. Somebody's going to get hurt.
Yep.
Somebody's going to get hurt. Oh, man. Speaking of U.S. men's national team, I'm going to put on my soccer hat. We'll have all sorts of soccer experts show up. The U.S. men start their World Cup journey against Paraguay. That is an 8 o'clock start on Fox. That is tomorrow night. It's going to be a lot of watch parties. There's a lot going on with this. This is the real thing. The friendlies are over.
Kev, where is this, by the way? Out in Southern California? Where were they having their party? Their watch party? Where are they?
Oh, yeah, they're in L.A. So the game
SoFi.
To SoFi, yeah.
going to be so packed. We were wanting, I think we got a semifinal here in Dallas. We were really wanting the final, and but I mean, we can't even keep our teams in downtown Dallas. I don't know why we think the Metroplex. Now, Dallas, of course, is bad at this, but this, of course, is in Arlington.
There may be a freeze, so you know how Dallas is with
a freeze in July. I think that's good. Yeah. Oh man, the last time the U.S. even won a knockout game was 2002 or something. I mean, we just have not really advanced anything. I used to kind of like that Bradley guy. There have been a couple of coaches over the years that I've liked. I kind of think I liked that Bradley back in the day, and I think I liked whoever was coaching Landon and them back in the early 2000s, if that was still Landon, like 2002. And I like somebody named like Jurgen something. There was somebody named like Jurgen Klinsmann or something. I think I kind of liked him.
Jurgen Klinsmann took over in the early 2010s, and
I kind of liked him.
This is the first generation of players from what he did was he kind of restructured and reformulated the whole youth soccer league and soccer organization from the foundation, where up until then it was you were where you were age-wise based on your school year, but the rest of the world goes by your birth year, and so he changed that. Liam was part of that, and so this is the first generation with all of those players that kind of were under that restructured Jurgen Klinsmann vibe there.
Interesting. We'll have more of that hockey knowledge tomorrow live from the pub, the Dancing Bear Pub. Come see us. Going to be fun. Going to be a festive atmosphere.
I think the coach you were thinking of was Bruce Arena.
I do kind of, yeah. He was an interesting guy.
Yeah, it was Bruce Arena, Bob Bradley, and then Jurgen Klinsmann, and then Berhalter.
Yeah, Bruce Arena. Bruce Arena was maybe coaching Dempsey and even Alexi Lawless and some of those guys. I used to like some of those. I mean, it was like Reina's dad was on one of those teams. Claudio Reina or something like that. Anyway, and then they had a couple of guys that I really liked back in the day. A couple of, oh man, I don't know. Really, my hockey knowledge or my soccer knowledge is mostly based on the Dallas Sidekicks of my youth, the early 80s Dallas Sidekicks winning an indoor championship at Reunion Arena against Steve Zungel and the Baltimore Blast. Now that was some soccer. The Indoor Warrior, Doc Lawson, Mark Carpin, the little Ruger. We called him Ruger. I think his name was like Kevin Smith. Those were the days. Young Mosley was way into some indoor soccer.
Do you want the full lineup at AT&T Stadium? Of course, I don't think they can call it AT&T Stadium. I think they've covered over all of those.
What are we calling it? Just Arlington.
FIFA is very particular about
their sponsors. So, I know.
The games at AT&T, it'll be the Netherlands and Japan. That will happen on Sunday. And then England, Croatia is probably the best one. But you also could have the opportunity to see Messi, Argentina, and Austria, Japan and Sweden, and Jordan and Argentina. So a couple Messi opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, Messi played at Kyle Field the other night. Messi was at Auburn. They played at Jordan Hare Stadium in front of 88,000. I mean, even in the football crazy South, they like this version of football. People will show up. They'll even show up to watch the Savannah Bananas. These people just don't really have much to do. No, it's understandable that tons of people would travel to Auburn, Alabama to see some World Cup, to see Messi. It was funny because somebody on the other team, Iceland, was against Argentina on a friendly, and the guy from Iceland's dad used to play with Messi, professional soccer, and so they were talking after the game. I thought that was kind of funny. How many World Cups has Messi played in now? When he plays in this one, 6.
6? I thought
something like that.
Something like 5
Yeah,
or 6. Yeah,
5 or 6. All right, buddy. Is Ronaldo in this one? Have we finally?
This will probably be the last one for Messi, last one for Ronaldo.
Ronaldinho?
Neymar. Ronaldinho is no more. Neymar probably the last one for him. That's
Okay.
not necessarily to do with his age. That's just the wealth of soccer possibilities and young people coming up in Brazil all the time. So
Zidane? I'm kidding. He's no longer playing.
no.
He was great though. He was
He
great.
headbutted his way right out of there.
The great Frenchman. It is the Mosley Show. My gosh, we just came right out of the bed today, right off the top. Not really out of bed. I've been up for a little while. I just did 40 minutes like it was nothing. Just like, hey, let's do 40 minutes of radio or whatever this is. Let's just go. All right, let's do some Campus Confidential. Let's do it next. We got a huge guest at 2:30. See you in a second.
It's the premier charity event of the year, the 2026 Central Texas Cattle Barons Ball, presented by Ascension Providence. A fun evening filled with great food and drink, dancing, a spectacular auction, and more. This year's theme is Nashville Nights, Neon Lights, and Bullfights. Get your tickets now, donate, or be a sponsor. Help support the American Cancer Society to find a cure. The 2026 Central Texas Cattle Barons Ball, October 24th at MCC Highlander Ranch. For more information, go to centraltexascattlebaronsball.org.
Do you suffer from low sports enthusiasm? Have you just not been able to get into the game? Maybe your balls are just feeling deflated. Well, get back to your old self and enjoy the game again. The friendly bartenders at Dancing Bear want you to know that you're not alone, and they can help. With dozens of craft beers rotating every week, pints of beer at Dancing Bear Pub have proven to reduce symptoms of low sports enthusiasm. Side effects include good times, good vibes, and new friends. Do not visit Dancing Bear Pub without consulting 4 or 5 of your closest buddies.
Bumblebee Blinds of Waco and Temple is your one-stop shop for custom window treatments, transforming your vision into reality. Choose from a selection of shades, blinds, shutters, and curtains. Bumblebee Blinds stands behind our service and products, ensuring peace of mind with our trusted warranty. Call Bumblebee Blinds today to schedule your design consultation. Bumblebee Blinds, simplifying window treatments one covering at a time. BumblebeeBlinds.com.
Have you heard the latest about CTWP? Let me tell you. How about 2 cents for a color copy? Only Kyocera offers. Don't believe me? We were the copier dolls? Grab your paperwork and let's compare. I guarantee CTWP has the best prices and service.
It's the 2026 Heart of Texas Builders Association Parade of Homes, brought to you by the First National Bank of Central Texas. Tour a variety of homes at different price points, plus see the latest trends from beautiful kitchens to outdoor living spaces. See the latest colors and design patterns. This is your chance to walk through homes, meet the builders, and get inspiration for your own projects. The Heart of Texas Builders Association Parade of Homes, June 5th, 6th, and 7th, and June 13th and 14th. Tickets are available online or at any parade home. For more information, go to wacohomeparade.com. At Schmaltz Sandwich Shop, we don't just make sandwiches, we build them with fresh ingredients, bold flavors, and homemade baked bread every single day. Toasty on the outside, goodness on the inside. Schmaltz Sandwich Shop in Waco is locally owned and operated since 1975 with 2 locations in Waco, Town West off Valley Mills and downtown off 5th Street. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or just a craving, we got the perfect bite waiting for you.
Mosley Show. Welcome back. Kevin and I, we had to react to all that San Antonio, one of the biggest meltdowns ever. We'll hear over the next couple of days of, can they bounce back? Will they bounce back? And maybe they win one at home, but I don't think you ultimately recover from that and win a series. If they do, hats off to them. And this will just be a footnote to history. And the 29 point, we'll always remember it, but it won't hold so much weight, and it won't be a skeleton in the closet of these guys. But if they go ahead and lose the series, like it looks like they're going to do, it will always weigh on them. Just like with everything LeBron's accomplished. Losing to Dirk, even when they had that all-star team, Bosh, and Dwayne Wade, and LeBron in 2011, and the way he played in the finals, the way LeBron kind of shrunk, had some shrinkage, still follows him around even to this day. Not he obviously did so much afterwards. It's not totally defines him, but it never totally goes away. And everybody has their moments, dark moments, even the great Jordan, although every time he got to the finals was not a dark moment because he went 6-0 in the finals. I might remind you. I'll also remind you that at 2:30 today, we had R.C. Slocum yesterday. That was so good. He had some great stories. A lot of people were talking about that one. Really, really good stuff from Coach Slocum. A guy that's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame joins us today at 2:30. He's in the writers wing or the media wing. He got the McCann Award, and that would be John McClain. Went to Baylor, very famous Baylor guy, and he has done. He's one of the producers of an incredible documentary about black high school football in athletics from 1920 to 1970. Really, the documentary is about civil rights and everything that was going on, but some amazing, amazing people in our country, in our state, played in the Prairie View Interscholastic League. And Mean Joe Green, who's from Temple, Texas, came out of that. Ken Houston, some amazing, amazing players. And so that'll be very interesting. And that happens at 2:30 today. We'll take a break and we'll have John McClain on. So that will be very interesting. And John was a longtime columnist from the Houston Chronicle, and that's how he got into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He'll also have some thoughts on the Texans, and he believes the Cowboys are going to win the NFC East of all things. So that will be interesting, and we'll have and he thinks Houston will win that division. So that may rile Kevin, our own Kevin Hoosier Hall. Speaking of Kevin, Kev, let's do something we call Campus Confidential. Right. And we can talk about anything. And at some point, I might go ahead and bring up the fact that we have, I know this will shock you, Kevin, one of our state's most well-known, some would say infamous, one of our state's most well-known politicians has come to the defense of one Cody Campbell, Brendan Sorsby, and the Texas Tech Red Raiders. We can talk about that whenever you want, but what do you want to lead us off with?
Well, wanted to see what your thoughts were on the SEC football preseason power rankings from Chris Lowe here.
All right, Chris used to be with ESPN for a long time, covered Tennessee, and used to be one of the bloggers. That's what I used to be for ESPN.com. Used to cover the SEC blogging for, and has done a great job over the years. These are his SEC football power rankings, as if we don't have enough to talk about with the evil empire that is now Texas Tech. Chris Lowe has dropped his SEC football power rankings. Generally a team that makes the playoff is granted some love the next year. And, Georgia is, I think Ole Miss is to a certain extent. OU, to have A&M down there at 5, even though they have their returning quarterback, I don't know. It seems a tad bit disrespectful to me. I feel like this is about the lowest that I've ever seen an Alabama team, certainly in the Saban era, since he got things rolling there. He is a little, he had a little shaky time there in the early first year or two, but then he got things rolling. That's about as low as I've ever seen them. I would say the only one that's kind of, I would argue with is like, do we just think that much of Pavia? Don't we think that Clark Lee has done some pretty great things there at Vanderbilt, kind of put them on the map? They've at least sort of been in the conversation in recent years. Why, with the departure of one Diego Pavia, do we feel the need to drop the Commodores all the way down to number 12? That just seems a little low. And I would also say, Drinkowitz has done a really nice job at Mizzou. Seems a little low for Mizzou and Vandy at 11 and 12. Other than that, nothing too shocking. Let the hype machine out of Austin, let it go, man, because, we have, a lot of times we say we want short memories. We want our cornerbacks to have short memories. When it comes to Arch Manning and the way he played for much of the season, especially the start of the season, and let's not act like, oh my gosh, at mid-season, Arch became great. Well, they should have gotten beat by Kentucky, and they should have gotten beat by Mississippi State. Two teams that I see listed at 14 and 15 on these power rankings. So I think we're probably getting a little ahead of ourselves with the University of Texas, but this is what makes Sark the cockiest man in college football, other than maybe Cody Campbell at Tech, is these kinds of rankings where they just like, hey, Texas, I think Texas is going to be the best. Who would I put at number one? I love both. I love the Ole Miss quarterback. I think we're going to find out. I think number 3 and number 6 on this list, Kev, is just a referendum on Lane Kiffin. How much of it was him at Ole Miss? How much of it was him bringing in some great players there? What's Golding going to do this season at Ole Miss? I could be talked into switching those two. And I'm not even a huge Kiffin guy. I don't love him. I don't love the way he behaves, but I kind of think LSU's too low here. So I could be talked into switching LSU and Ole Miss. Now, why is Oklahoma?
Who would you have at number 1?
Oh, I think I would put Georgia with a known commodity at quarterback and a coach that I respect and believe in more than Sark. I think I would switch those, and then I'd put Texas second and LSU third, then OU, then A&M, then Ole Miss in its new 6th position. I would be tempted to move Alabama ahead of Ole Miss and put Ole Miss down there at number 7. Now, I love Trinidad, but if you don't think that Golding's going to hit some turbulence this year, you don't know SEC football. I just don't. There's some things about him, Kev, that scream to me not ready for prime time. I thought he hung in there and was okay during the playoff. I thought he handled all that fine. But with him, it's a prove it, kind of a show me state kind of thing. Which the show me state, yeah. What do you got?
I think Vanderbilt and Missouri should be up 2, bump down South Carolina and Florida. And I think I'm also with you. I think A&M is going to surprise people more than just kind of borderline disrespect. I think Alabama absolutely deserves to be where they are, and I would shuffle somewhere Ole Miss, Oklahoma. The top 2, I don't have a problem with. I think I have made my feelings and opinions known about Texas that I strongly disagree with the way that you believe that the Texas season ended. I think they were on a complete uptick, and they're only going to keep getting better this season. So,
well, I mean, maybe they'll take their 2s and 3s, just hammer the conference, maybe to make the degree of difficulty even tougher. All right, we'll see. I mean, part of me kind of likes Arch and wants to see him do really well, but there's also part of me that does not love Texas, so that's hard. That's hard.
I know.
And all right. Although I really gave them some big praise on something maybe about their baseball. Oh, I did talk to their AD yesterday.
Softball.
Yes, I did talk to their AD and had a fun catch-up session with him, just kind of congratulating him. And so he will be on with us soon.
All right.
Chris Del Conte, the AD.
All right. What about this same
Doug
thing
McNamee will be on with us in late July.
Same thing for the Big Ten Conference. Obviously, I might have a little bit better gauge on this one, but wanted to get your thoughts here on this one.
Okay, who did this one?
This is Ari Wasserman.
Big Ten.
Yeah.
All right, Ari used to be with the Athletic. He does a pretty good job. Who's the very last? Rutgers? Or no, I can't see down there. Purdue.
Probably. Yep.
Purdue's AD just stepped down, by the way, in case anybody cares. 18 teams. Let me tell you who. Okay, here's what I'm kind of fascinated with. 12 and 13. And you say, well, why, Matt? Nobody cares about UCLA or UCLA gets that James Madison coach, Bob somebody.
Yep.
Huh?
You should care about UCLA. They will be good.
I don't know how good, but I'm kind of anxious to see how that goes. And then remember, I'll forget. I don't really care about Northwestern. Okay, forget I even said that. I would say that Washington had to basically threaten to sue its own quarterback to keep him. So that's a hostage situation. That's a kid who didn't really want to be there, and they threaten legislation. I find all of this. This is a extremely top-heavy conference, and I would almost just say, even with this huge respect that I have for Gary Patterson, I think it's top-heavy with the top 3, and then it's just kind of it's just after the top 3, it's just a dogfight. Do we really know what Michigan is with Whittingham? I like him, but do we really know what they are? Do we really know with Matt going in there to Penn State? Do we? Penn
State, yeah.
Yeah. Do we really know what they are? We don't. I mean, he's bringing. Oh, are we supposed to go crazy over all these Iowa State players? Oh, wait a second. Were they great last year? Oh, no, they weren't. Okay, cool. Here's the team with a higher ceiling than even I think. I think if Washington, if that quarterback, if they can get past all their bad blood, that's a scary place. Because I do think that guy can coach. He showed it at Arizona, and I do think he can coach. I don't have any. I mean, like Iowa's one of those teams, just like Illinois and Minnesota. They're just going to be somewhere in Nebraska. They're all just going to be right there. So they're probably in the right spot, but no, they're not going to be bad. And they may surprise us with one game or one win, but they're all going to be around 500. The team that's, you're right. The team to watch is UCLA, because the last time somebody tried to do what he's doing at a place that's not historically good, Indiana, they took a big jump immediately. I want to see what he does. But it's unfair to him to just go, well, he's Signetti. First of all, he's not that old, right? He's not even in his age range. Yeah, he's probably in his 40s. And
he kind of reminds me of a Todd Golden on the basketball side.
You mean cockiest man in America? Is he cocky?
Well, he came in and tried to do the same exact thing that Signetti did. Went to a basketball game, talk about this, that. I think Penn State has to drop down to 9 just because we don't know. I think UCLA is fine where they are, but watch out for them. And Michigan, watch out. I think Michigan could end up 3 or 4 at the end of the year in this conference.
Okay. The power of Whittingham. So you think if somebody who has the best chance of knocking off? See, I thought you would be highly offended with the Hoosiers at 3.
No, I love it. I will always love when people underestimate. It's fun.
Do you think it's fair to say that Hoover is the 4th best quarterback in this conference, behind Sayin, Dante, and Maeva?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Raiola. That Oregon has 2 quarterbacks better on their
No, I'm not. I'm not going to say that.
I think at this point it's fair to say that, but I think you probably could have said that about Mendoza or Rourke.
Well, of course, but then we found out differently.
Huge jumps. So
I think you could make the argument that quarterback at Washington might be better than him. I would not say the Michigan. I don't trust that Underwood guy. He's a runaround. He's a runaround guy. Just like kind of. Well, you think he's good?
I think he's going to surprise you.
Bryce Underwood?
Yep. I think he's got a lot of potential. And
Waco used to have a place called Underwood's.
Yeah.
Underwood's Barbecue. I don't even know if it was. I think it was just okay, but kind of like you'd go almost cafeteria style. You'd go through the line. You say, "Give me some brisket. Give me some of that brisket," and you'd look a little bit. It was not. I don't think it was as good as Uncle Dan's. I like the Uncle Dan's because it had that potato. They were the first one to really do that loaded potato kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, even with Terry Black's now being there and all of that, I hope Uncle Dan's doing okay out there. Uncle Dan got himself in a little trouble, but I always liked it. Always liked going out there.
Zach Owen's dad. The legendary Zach Owen. Zach Owen's dad owned a couple of Underwood's barbecues up in Fort Worth.
I kind of liked them, be honest with you. Looking back, I probably wasn't that great, but
there's only one left in Brownwood.
I kind of liked it. I may go to Brownwood just to kind of experience what it's like because Waco was not loaded with a bunch of restaurants back then. When I was in school, you go get you a good cheeseburger at Captain Billy Whiz-Bangs or something like that. That was pretty good. What else do you have for me?
All right, so why do you think that Ted Cruz is so confident he can get the Protect College Sports Act through Congress without the support of the Big Ten or SEC?
Why did you choose?
I wanted to get him playing sports.
What is it?
This is a celebrity one-on-one game against Jimmy Kimmel, I found. So he does have background in sports. So this legitimizes,
Is Kimmel wearing a Texas Southern jersey?
Yep.
What is the shirt Cruz is wearing?
It's a Houston Strong Rockets.
Do we know who won that game?
I'm not sure. But he has come out and said that he thinks he can get it passed without.
Yeah. No, I saw that. And I think that's just bravado talking. No politician would never do that. But this thing is going to get this. There's going to be a markup, and they're letting the Big Ten and the SEC have a say in how they want to carve things out. So, I mean, this feels like the last train leaving the station. So, if this is ever going to happen, it has to happen with this bill. So, I think he knows he has to have them on board. So I think that's just him talking trash, which he was probably doing to Kimmel after this blow by, after this great blow by. Yeah.
Final score 11-9. Ted Cruz won. So he thinks he can win again.
Honestly, I didn't really think Kimmel should have been suspended or whatever. Maybe people get mad at me saying that, but I think he should have been suspended for losing to Ted Cruz. I think that would have been a fine reason to suspend him from ABC. I could roll out of bed after not playing organized hoops or not playing even pickup in years. And even I'm having major plantar fascia issues, plantar fasciitis. I don't think Ted Cruz would score on me. I almost think there's no way. I would soar over him much like Anunoby did last night for that final deal. If I think Ted Cruz, I think I would. Who won? You said they won 11-9.
That's Mosley right there on Ted Cruz.
And I don't know how I would do against Cantwell. The Democrat who's co-signing that bill with him. But if there's any sport that I would lose to Ted Cruz in, I would just give up. I would just give up on everything.
All right, you've been talking about this. So
I think if it was like carving out a budget, like a finance, like that kind of thing, that's the one thing I think he could probably take me in. All right, what else do you have?
You wanted to talk about the statement from the Attorney General of Texas.
Attorney General's office has sent this out. This is basically a threat. This is in support of Texas Tech, basically saying that if threatening the Big 12, that if they do something, they'll immediately be hit and it will go against everything and it will be defeated in the courts. Now, if the Big 12 does something, there's some thought, Kevin, that this could end up in a federal court. And so that would not be the state court, but
says the university will, quote, will pursue all legal avenues if the Big 12 sanctions Texas Tech overplaying Brendan Sorsby. The Athletic obtained the letter. Okay. This was from, yeah.
Okay. We knew Tech was saying they'll sue like crazy if the Big 12 does any sanctions. The new thing, Kev, also that came out today was this. This is a letter from that has been sent out. Oh, and we do have. This is important, Kevin. I'll tell you what we'll do, because we got all day to talk about that. I am very interested in. We've been waiting on the Big 12 basketball schedule to hit. It has hit, and we've got all kinds of press releases coming down, and I want to react to it. Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and react to the Baylor schedule, the Big 12 conference schedule being released. That is next.
Lake Waco Golf Club is a semi-private facility nestled along the north point of Lake Waco, one of the few facilities in Texas to have a full 18-hole regulation golf course as well as an executive 18-hole par 3 golf course. Plus, check out their bar and grill, which is open to the public. And if you're not a golfer, then enjoy time by the pool or even enjoy fishing around Lake Waco. Become a member today and call to book your tee time. Lake Waco Golf Club, where family and friends fun begins. Check them out at lakewacogc.com for more information.
The reason that their service is outstanding because the people they have working, behind the desk and the folks working out in the garage, taking care of business. And they give you a date, they give you a time, and they're spot on. And they're professional, they take care of it, and they answer all your questions, and they're fun to work with.
Like Alan Samuels always said, Waco has a lot to offer, and so do we at Alan Samuels Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Come by, let's be friends.
Enjoy a quiet atmosphere with beautiful river views at the Brazos Landing, located in Waco along the Brazos River across from McClain Stadium. Enjoy homemade dishes like shrimp and grits, chicken piccata, braised short ribs, prime New York steaks, and more. Plus, enjoy a delicious dessert like creme brulee or key lime pie. Open for lunch and dinner Tuesday through Sunday. Brazos Landing in Waco, the only place where I-35 and the Brazos River meet.
Okay, that was really great for the first time on your own. Let's maybe take a break and then we'll come back and do some more.
Sounds great.
Oh, you're back. That was a fast break.
I know.
Hi, would either of you be able to assist me?
Yes, she'd love to help.
Oh, yes. I love assists.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
All right. Wow. We do have, and Kevin, if you want to let our Twitter audience, well, they're already there. They'll know. We are going to react live right here. Just a few minutes ago, the Big 12 basketball schedule came down. To finish that last thought, the Attorney General's office has put out a statement basically saying what it would do if the Big 12, which is some people think they may try to sanction Texas Tech or not allow Scoresby to play. The Attorney General's office is saying what all the recourse that Texas Tech would have and that the state would defend them and all this kind of stuff. Okay. It's what it is a politician reaching out to help conservative billionaire and Cody Campbell, who's a big Republican, and it's a old school, and it happens, but that's really what this is about. And of course, this is Ken Paxton we're talking about, who's a Baylor guy, by the way. So it's a Baylor guy sticking up for the Texas Tech Red Raiders. And don't think I'm not. Mosley's taking a shot at. This is not a Republican Democrat thing. This is I'm just telling you what this is. All right, this is a politician stepping up and trying to kind of put a threat, scare the Big 12 a little bit, and help out Cody Campbell as he continues to talk about all this. All right. I just kind of wanted to explain what that was, and I can delve into it and explain it a little bit more as we move on here. Now at 2:30, we got a great guest, and he's an old Baylor guy himself. And so we'll have all kinds of talk and Baylor talk. We're going to talk about a documentary he's doing. We're talking about the NFL Hall of Fame writer John McClain, and so that'll be great. He's going to come up with us at about 2:30. All right, here is Baylor, who they're playing home and away. Kev, and Kevin's got nice job, Kev. Kevin's kind of putting the Baylor grid up there, but I'm going to read this out, Kevin, as people can kind of look at the grid.
Let me look at what that's the home only. Okay, home and away. I just want to make sure this matches up with what I'm seeing. Yes.
All right. So Baylor and Kansas from about 2019 to 2022 or 23 was the best thing going in the conference. Then Houston got in and started beating everybody. And so that's fine. And Arizona had an unbelievable run in conference last year. But Baylor and Kansas had become a big, big thing. Conference is going back to letting them play, at least this year, they're going to play home and away. So the Jayhawks will come to the Foster Pavilion, and Baylor will go to Allen Fieldhouse. Now, Kev, what you'll quickly see here and what you'll deduce is they're not protecting the rivalry that is Baylor and TCU. Let's be honest. The two fan bases do not care for each other. It's somewhat of a basketball rivalry, but it's mainly a football rivalry. So let's not act like this is the end of the world, Baylor and TCU. And honestly, Baylor's not been very good against TCU in women's or men's. So there you go. This is the men's schedule we're talking about here, just so we're not getting anything twisted. All right, Kevin. So these are the teams Baylor's playing on the road and at home. Home and away. UCF, Colorado, and Kansas. Now, I think that's pretty good for Baylor to have home and away with UCF and Colorado. UCF got better this year. I think UCF made the NCAA tournament. Colorado did not. So those are programs that you're fine playing a couple of times. Kansas obviously is a tougher thing, but that's okay. Home only games. Cincinnati, you get the Cougars at your place. Cougars came in last year, beat the brakes off of Baylor. Still, you'd way rather have them at home. Baylor played them better at their place, but that's just the deal. So Iowa State comes in. Kansas State comes in. Jerome Tang's old school. Oklahoma State and West Virginia. It's not like the only marquee teams coming into Foster then would be Houston in Iowa State. Cyclones under Otzelberger, always good. Houston, always good. The rest of them are just kind of new coach at K-State, new coach at Cincinnati, relatively new coach at Oklahoma State, relatively new coach at West Virginia. Those are not what you'd call like marquee home games. So 2 marquee home games, away only. Arizona, tough. Arizona State, they got a new coach too. BYU, that's tough game. TCU, Texas Tech, very tough. Utah. So the easy road games, or not easy, but easier, would be Arizona State and Utah. Those are very hard road games. Arizona, BYU, TCU, sort of. Tech, very tough road game. That's tough road schedule. So I think that's okay. I think that's. I'm looking to see who I think got some really tough, like home and away. Let's see what U of H has to play Arizona twice and Tech twice. Whoa. Arizona has to play BYU and Houston twice, as well as their in-state rival Arizona State twice. All right. Iowa State's only home and away toughie is Jayhawks. They preserve Kansas's game against Kansas State, but they also play Baylor and Iowa State twice. I would say that Texas Tech, the only rough thing with them, they get to play UCF twice and Cincinnati twice. They play Houston twice. That's the only tough deal for them. In West Virginia, the only real tough thing is Iowa State. I mean, I don't know. There may be Baylor fans that are sad about them not playing TCU twice. I don't know, man. They've not been very good against TCU. I don't think that's the end of the world, not getting TCU twice. So there you go. Some of the things coming out in the deal. And Kevin, I appreciate you. I knew that was going to drop today, so I appreciate you catching that. I would say that's tough. Those away games, think about this. 3 of your 6 away games if you're the Bears. Arizona, that's almost a certain loss. Texas Tech, ooh. I mean, they didn't have that great of a portal, but still, ugh. That's other than maybe Kansas. I think Tech is the toughest place to play in the conference. BYU's way up there too as a tough place to play. Those are 3 extremely tough road games. That home schedule for the Bears, that's an interesting one because you have to play the Cougs and you have to play Iowa State. Those are tough games. The other 4 extremely winnable. And Baylor gave Iowa State they really should have beaten Iowa State last year at Baylor in Waco. And again, just a reminder, home and away, we'll take another break here in a minute to get ready for our 2:30 guest. Home and away, you've got the Buffs. Nobody cares about that. Kansas, which Baylor and Kansas has been a premier matchup in the past. I'd love for it to get back to being that. So I like the Jayhawks coming to town. And, I think it's pretty unbelievable to go play in Allen Fieldhouse. I'm sure Scott would have preferred not, but would you rather had a home and away with U of H? No. Would you have rather had a home and home or home and home is what we call it, with Iowa State? No, I don't think so. I don't think it's that bad. I think the teams that Baylor has to play twice, Colorado, UCF, and Kansas. I mean, if you could get a win over Kansas at your place, sweep those other games, you're 5 out of 6 games right there. I mean, I'm not saying that's easy, but I just think it's somewhat doable as these schedules start to shake out. Kev, any thoughts on the schedule? Anything jump out at you? You're a man who loves a good schedule grid. I'm looking at these other teams as well while you talk. Anything you've seen from a Baylor standpoint that you either love about the schedule or hate about the schedule?
I think it's really nice to have Houston at home. I think that helps. But of course, you got to go to Tech, which you have called one of the most difficult places to play, right?
Yes.
So, but then, I think having Kansas at least one home, one away. It's tough that you have to play them twice for sure, but at least you have at least one of them at home as a possibility. So those are the ones that jump out to me.
Listen to Tech, Kevin. Listen to Tech's away only. Colorado, Kansas, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, TCU, and Utah. It's not bad. Boy, that's not bad. That's not a murderer's row. I mean, anytime you go to Fog Allen, that's tough. But those other places are extremely winnable right now. I mean, it's not like they've fired up Gallagher-Iba yet. I don't think Daniel Meyer or Schomeyer, they call it now, is that tough at TCU. And I don't think the guy has it rolling yet at Utah. Very, very interesting. we'll come back and look at more of this tomorrow, I promise. But I don't think that's a horrible Baylor deal. You don't really want to play U of H twice. You don't want to play BYU twice. You don't want to play Tech twice. The only one that's rough for the Bears is having to play the Jayhawks twice. So I don't think it's bad. Only two marquee. You got Kansas coming in and the rest of those schools coming into your place. And then who did I say? UCF and Colorado coming. We're doing both of those. I don't love it's just there's only two marquee conference home matchups, but you'd prefer more winnable games than some kind of murderer's row. The road schedule for Baylor is not awful. Well, I say that. Tech, BYU, and Arizona, 3 of the 6 road games. Ugh. You just got to try to go. You win 3 of those and then beat UCF and Colorado on the road. That's your best bet. All right, John McClain, he's ready. He's in the green room. We go to him after these messages.
It's the premier charity event of the year, the 2026 Central Texas Cattle Barons Ball, presented by Ascension Providence. A fun evening filled with great food and drink, dancing, a spectacular auction, and more. This year's theme is Nashville Nights, Neon Lights, and Bullfights. Get your tickets now, donate, or be a sponsor. Help support the American Cancer Society to find a cure. The 2026 Central Texas Cattle Barons Ball, October 24th at MCC Highlander Ranch. For more information, go to centraltexascattlebaronsball.org. At Schmaltz Sandwich Shop, we don't just make sandwiches, we build them with fresh ingredients, bold flavors, and homemade baked bread every single day. Toasty on the outside, goodness on the inside. Schmaltz Sandwich Shop in Waco is locally owned and operated since 1975 with 2 locations in Waco, Town West off Valley Mills and downtown off 5th Street. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or just a craving, we got the perfect bite waiting for you.
David Willey here. I got a question for you. How do you know what kind of deal you're getting on your copier? If you really want to know, give me a call and I'll be glad to talk to you about it. CTWP, your only local copier company.
It's the 2026 Heart of Texas Builders Association Parade of Homes, brought to you by the First National Bank of Central Texas. Tour a variety of homes at different price points, plus see the latest trends from beautiful kitchens to outdoor living spaces. See the latest colors and design patterns. This is your chance to walk through homes, meet the builders, and get inspiration for your own projects. The Heart of Texas Builders Association Parade of Homes, June 5th, 6th, and 7th, and June 13th and 14th. Tickets are available online or at any parade home. For more information, go to wacohomeparade.com.
Do you suffer from low sports enthusiasm? Have you just not been able to get into the game? Maybe your balls are just feeling deflated. Well, get back to your old self and enjoy the game again. The friendly bartenders at Dancing Bear want you to know that you're not alone, and they can help. With dozens of craft beers rotating every week, pints of beer at Dancing Bear Pub have proven to reduce symptoms of low sports enthusiasm. Side effects include good times, good vibes, and new friends. Do not visit Dancing Bear Pub without consulting 4 or 5 of your closest buddies.
Bumblebee Blinds of Waco and Temple is your one-stop shop for custom window treatments, transforming your vision into reality. Choose from a selection of shades, blinds, shutters, and curtains. Bumblebee Blinds stands behind our service and products, ensuring peace of mind with our trusted warranty. Call Bumblebee Blinds today to schedule your design consultation. Bumblebee Blinds, simplifying window treatments one covering at a time. BumblebeeBlinds.com.
Well, we had Hall of Famer on yesterday, R.C. Slocum, Jackie Sherrill. I think he's in some Hall of Fames just the other day. This is a good friend of Jackie's and a man who I'm sure is also friends with R.C. Slocum. It is the legendary sports writer from the Houston Chronicle, also a proud Baylor graduate, mostly proud most of the time. It is John McClain joining the Mosley show via the live stream there. And John, it's good to have you. And we'll talk about your documentary, which I've been watching and reading about, and there's a big screening coming up at the Texas Sports Hall of Fame. But welcome to the program, sir.
Matt, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I think it's great that the Texas Sports Hall of Fame is going to honor RC and College Station. That's going to be tremendous with their Lifetime Achievement Award. And I've been spending a lot of time with Jackie Sherrill. I hated Jackie when he was coaching the Aggies because they kicked Baylor's ass too many times. Now that I've spent a lot of time with him, Gridiron Legends of Texas, we make appearances, charitable appearances around the state. And I've done panels with Jackie. And, he invented NIL when he was at Pitt, brought it to A&M. And Jackie's a hoot. I don't know anybody that's got better stories than Jackie Sherrill, beginning with castrating that bull to motivate Mississippi State to upset the Longhorns.
Although he likes to bring up that he got like a veterinarian involved, and he loved it when I brought it up that you had told me to ask, and he was laughing, but he was kind of trying to mitigate it a little bit. He was giving me the rest of the story, but that's still one of the more infamous stories in college football. What a character. And the fact that he and RC still look like they do and have that wealth of information. I thought the same thing of Gene Stallings. I had him on when he turned 90 a year or two ago, and the voice and the presence and everything, it was still there. John, it's these guys are getting older, but it's wonderful to still have them around. And so I love that you're doing that Gridiron, organization.
One of the things that's interesting about Jackie Sherrill at the Texas Coaches Association in San Antonio the last year, Jackie was on the panel that I moderated for about 1,000 coaches, and I asked him about the castrating story. And so he pulls out a little pocket knife and he unfolds it and said, well, I got down there. He said that story's been told and embellished so many times, people think I actually did it, which I did not, but I love his sense of humor. And those guys are great guys. And I'm always for teams from Texas to win. And I wanted the Spurs to win going in. But I got to tell you, Matt, I'm still trying to process that game last night because I've been watching pro basketball since the playoffs were on tape delay at 10:30 after the news. And in my parents' house in Waco, we'd watch it. And then we'd go out in the driveway and put on lights. And we would play like we were the guys who had been playing. And I've never seen anything in basketball like I saw last night. I've seen choke jobs in football by the Oilers at Buffalo, 35-3 in the third quarter and lose 41-38 in overtime. And I think the atmosphere of Garden makes a big difference, especially with all the celebrities, nobody wanting to go home. But I'm fired up about these next games. I hope the Spurs win. And if the Knicks are going to clinch it in the Garden.
Isn't that amazing to see Taylor Swift and all those movie stars around, and Ben Stiller and everybody? It just and then Jerry Seinfeld, and you would think that was weird. That was kind of surreal for even them last night, because most times you would think their handlers or whoever would run them right out of there. Right? Let's get out. Let's beat the traffic. Let's take advantage of our privilege. You've been around these movie stars. You know how it works. And yet they were 20, 30 minutes after the game, they were still standing out there because, like everybody else, to your point, they were just completely stunned. And, some of that you could put on Wemby. I thought De'Aaron Fox made a huge mistake late trying to go score that ball. I mean, it honestly, John, and it's tough we sometimes beat up on broadcasters. In the moment, I didn't think they hit on some of the things they needed to hit on. And so I jumped over to ESPN to see what Barkley was going to say, and he nailed them. he immediately said that was the biggest dumb A basketball I've ever seen. He said, I think he called it the dumbest team in the history of civilization. And his point was they just started, they got this huge lead, and then they come out in third quarter and then just keep bombing threes that were not going in. And it was kind of like, yeah, the Knicks did some great things, John, but you have to have help if you're going to blow. You have to help the other team if you're going to blow a 29-point lead.
Absolutely, you do, Matt, and they did. Some of those guys are young and inexperienced, but De'Aaron Fox, that was inexcusable to try to score instead of run the clock, and that's what was bad. I tell you what else is bad is those Knicks fans beating up on the Spurs fans in the street. And I saw this morning when Wemby got off the bus to go in his hotel, across the street, fans are lined up behind barriers throwing things at him, and he got hit with an egg. I wish they could find out who those people are, send them straight to Rikers prison on Rikers Island and let them deal with those fans.
I like it. That was not a good look at all. Now, I tell you, this documentary that you are a producer on, and knowing you were the one who delivered them, tons of these interviews, especially these former stars. But I've been listening to some of what you've been saying about this, some of these interviews, and there's just so many great stories. But this is the Prairie View Interscholastic League, which was the black basically equivalent of the UIL for black schools from 1920 to 1970. And I love this because, like, even where I grew up in Kaufman County, you had Pyle High School, was the old black school. And there was a player named Autry Beeman, who I've heard about for years, who went on to play for the Seahawks. And it's kind of like with Mean Joe Green. Temple, over the years, since he was from Temple, Texas, well, Temple High School kind of wants to claim him, right? This is this unbelievable Pro Football Hall of Famer. But this relationship is a complicated one. And so all of this fascinates me because, and let's start with Mean Joe Green, someone I bet you've known since he was, maybe even right after he was out of college. You've known Mean Joe probably for a long, long time. But even take us, first of all, just the genesis of this idea to come up with this documentary. And then let's also tell people the Texas Sports Hall of Fame, this is on the 18th.
It's the 18th.
Yes.
We're going to show it at 6 o'clock. It's free. You don't need tickets. Jay Black at the Hall of Fame does such a great job, says we will get everybody in that wants to come. We're being honored with a viewing the night before in Corpus because the Corpus Christi Miller team from 1960, led by running back Johnny Rowland, who spent 35 years in the NFL, they won the first integrated state championship. They beat Wichita Falls in Baylor Stadium to become the first integrated team to win. And the coach, Pete Regas, who's 98 and lives in Lubbock, he told us we didn't do any Zooms. We went and interviewed everybody in person. There's 4 of us. Director Mark Burns, executive producer Scott Nethery, producer Rob Lynch, and I do the interviews. They do all the work. And the coach, Pete Regas, said, well, when he was telling us about the times, and boy, you can imagine what they were like back then. He said that they didn't play another team in that 14-game season that had a black player. He had 6 black players, a lot of Hispanics, and they had integrated in Corpus Christi when they were supposed to in the 50s because you had Brown versus the Board of Education, in which the Supreme Court outlawed desegregation, and most of Texas and most of the South just thumbed their nose at it. And it wasn't until LBJ passed the Civil Rights Act in 1964 and laid down the law, still Texas and the South, it took them a few years to do it. So I thought one of the many great stories they told us was Pete Regas said the best team.
Kev, John had told me that his computer every once in a while will freeze up on him. So let's let him let's let him jump back on with us here, and let's go back to him and see if we can.
I'll pick back up at Pete
yeah.
Regas told us
Yeah.
best team was Port Arthur Jefferson. They beat them in the semi 6-0. Best players, Jimmy Johnson. We called Jimmy. Said, Jimmy, we'd like to come interview you in Florida. He lives in the Keys. And he said, I can't remember last week, much less 1960. Then he started thinking more, and stories started coming back. He said, come on. So the four of us went over there, spent a half day with him at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill Sports Bar and Grill on the water. And he talked about the times. He talked about the game. He talked about a lot of things like the Herschel Walker trade, because we have a website called MadDogEntertainment.tv in which we can put any interviews we want. And as you know, Matt, if you interview 40 people over a month, a year and a half, most of it you can't use. So we're doing that. Plus, we're working on our fourth documentary. First one we did was Love You Bum, which is on Amazon. And I recommended the Southwest Conference. And then Rob Lynch said, well, what about the Prairie View Interscholastic League? I kind of turned up my nose. I said, so what? And he started telling me stories. I said, where'd you hear that? He said, from Kenny Houston and Joe Green. They're brothers-in-law. Joe and his wife live in Argyle. Kenny lives in Houston. Joe went to Temple Dunbar, and Kenny went to Lufkin Dunbar. So we had lunch with them the next time Joe came down, and they regaled us with stories about the Prairie View Interscholastic League. Michael Hurd, who works closely with us, wrote that book, Thursday Night Lights, about the Prairie View Interscholastic League and how inferior the stadiums were, the equipment was, but we couldn't find one guy who's bitter. None. They said, we didn't think about the UIL and the white kids. We just knew we played, and that's all we cared about. Joe Green never had water at a practice or a game till he got to North Texas. Never had his ankles taped till he got to North Texas. Kenny Houston told us stories about rickety old buses going in the piney woods to games and filling stations. Nobody let them use the restroom because they were black. So when enough of them had to go, they had to go down some dirt road into the woods, and the bus driver would open the door and say, okay, don't forget to take the toilet paper. Then they'd come back and go play a football game. And there was all kind of stories like that. We also have people like Warren Moon, Eric Dickerson, Jacob Green, Andre Ware, players who said they would never have had their careers if they had not stood on the shoulders of the Trailblazers. And the hard luck story we have in our documentary is Eldridge Dickey, the greatest PVIL quarterback from Houston, Booker T. Washington, who went to Tennessee State because John Merritt threw the ball. And then he was the first black quarterback in history drafted in the first round by Al Davis in 1968. And it was weird because he already had Darryl LaMonica, the MVP, George Blanda, drafted Kenny Stabler in the second round. And Al Davis immediately moved him to receiver and special teams, broke his spirit, ruined his life. And the only reason Davis did it was he found out Hank Stram had been scouting him. So he didn't want his chief rival to get him. So he took him ahead of Stram. And so we've got a lot of stories like that. And we've showed it around the state. We had a premiere here, and we had 320 people come, media, former players, coaches, came from all over. We had a blast. And the good thing, Matt, about the PVIL story, it never expires. Mean Joe Green, Kenny Houston, Hall of Fame, Emmett Thomas, Winston Hill, Cliff Branch, Night Train Lane, even Ernie Banks for baseball. They all played in the all-black PVIL. We have stories, uplifting stories that tug on your heart. We have some that grab you in the gut involving race and politics, and dummy being hung outside the entrance to Mansfield High School with a noose around its neck to try to keep the black kids from coming to school. And that was orchestrated by the Texas Rangers and our governor, Alan Shivers. So it's a story we thought needed to be told in a documentary, and we're quite proud of it.
What was Mean Joe Green's biggest message from his time playing in Temple. And I think now he's to the point where even Temple High School has had him back and named some things after him. But I know for a while that was sort of a complicated thing. What has his relationship been like with his hometown? Because like you brought up Ernie Banks, extremely complicated relationship with Dallas. In fact, didn't really claim it, rarely came back to Dallas. So some of these guys that, they left and because of some of the things they went through, even this decorated, you would think the city of Dallas, which we screw up everything, but they certainly didn't do well with that relationship. What has Mean Joe's relationship with Temple been like over the years?
Joe went to to Temple Dunbar, and they wouldn't let him use the main stadium, the locker rooms, because they were black. So they would play their games on Thursday night, and they had to have the pregame and halftime in the end zone. And back then, they didn't evacuate players and fans if it started lightning. So he told us stories about being in the end zone pregame or halftime with a coach trying to give him a speech, and it's pouring down rain, and you can barely hear him. And Joe said, I saw a lot of majorettes, though. And they Joe told a tremendous story about, remember, Texas A&I was a power with Gil Stanky. And Gil Stanky wanted Joe to come to Texas A&I. And when he went for his visit, Gene Upshaw, also in the Hall of Fame, who became good friends with Joe, was called into Stanky's office and said, this is Joe Green from Temple, and I want you to show him a good time because we really want him. So Upshaw says, okay, coach. They get in Upshaw's car. They go to a 7-Eleven, and Stanky giving him $5. Remember, this is the early 60s. So Joe goes into a 7-Eleven, comes out. He'd gotten change, gives Joe 50 cents, drops him off, and says, have a good time, kid. And Joe went to North Texas. And he said he gave Gene so much grief about that. And when Joe was growing up in Temple, his favorite team was the Cowboys. His favorite player was Bob Lilly. He wanted to play for the Cowboys. Can you imagine Joe Green and Bob Lilly, a defensive tackle for the Doomsday Defense? And watching Joe describe the first time they brought him water at practice, first day at practice at North Texas, he's on one knee. Somebody hands him a cup. He said, what's that? Water. What about it? Well, you're supposed to drink it. He said, I never had water at practice. Well, try it. So he drank it. Wow, this is good. Then he was told to get on the table. Why? In the dressing room, he said, because we're going to tape your ankles. Why? Well, it makes you faster and quicker. He said, I never had my ankles taped. Well, just try it. Coaches said you got to do it. So they taped him, put his shoes on. He got off like he's walking on the moon, real slow. And every step he took, he felt a little better. And when he got outside and started running around, he goes, man, I'm going to be even faster and quicker. And he was probably a lot meaner because he said he got kicked out of just about every high school game they played because he was mean. He was Joe Green, who was mean before he was mean. Joe Green.
who would then be in a Coca-Cola commercial later on with the Steelers. It was very.
He drank a whole case of Coke. He had to drink them all in one gulp. And after they finished, he told him, I'll do this, but I got to be by a bathroom. So they filmed at some high school stadium outside a restroom. And when they finished, the director said, man, that's impressive the way you drank all 24 in one gulp. I'm surprised you didn't take several sips. And he goes, what do you mean? He said, well, you could have taken several sips and we would have edited it. And Joe's like, the guy's lucky Joe didn't kill him. But to this day, Joe still drinks nothing but Coke. But the documentary starts with a player. It says Joe Green. It's the reenactment of a kid we got here that looked like Joe during that period. And we found a Temple Dunbar uniform on eBay. And we got thunder, rain, and lightning machines, took him over outside a high school football stadium and had him getting soaked. And that's Joe in high school. And we'd had several reenactments. Jerry Levias told a great story about in Beaumont, they would have cars come into fields and circle the fields and turn on their lights, and they would play by the lights of the cars. So we got a reenactment out in Kingwood by the airport and a car club that brought their old Thunderbirds and their old cars and did it for us to reenact Jerry Levias's game. And we had 3 enactments overall. And we went to Nashville for the music. We got a guy up there that does the music on all of our documentaries. And I tell you what, man, it is a labor of love, and there's no expiration date.
Yeah, and boy, you've been in movies in the past, and you've wrangled some sports writers to be in some of those movies, and so you've kind of always loved, I think, film. But then to get into these documentaries, well, by the way, this is some retirement you have. I mean, you got a podcast every day, and you're doing documentaries. So this really feels like work, John. You haven't truly you retired.
Matt, let me
from
tell you
the
something. I also do 14 weekly talk shows, TV shows, and podcasts. I just retired from writing, which was the smartest thing I ever did, because it freed me up for about 15 hours a week that I could devote to the other things.
Yeah.
But I tell people, and they think I'm just saying this, I tell them I have not worked since I was 15 years old and mowed yards to make money in Waco, and kind of had my own business. And that's the last time I actually felt like I worked, because being a sports writer, as you know, there's a lot of times you're on deadline, you don't have ideas, but still, people would trade places with us, people, fans, billionaires, poor people, all nationalities, they would trade with us in a heartbeat to talk sports for a living and make money. So I have been blessed, starting with working at the Tribune Herald, hired by Dave Campbell and Hollis Biddle, and I went to McClain my first 2 years, took all these courses that transferred to Baylor, and went to Baylor and started working going into my junior year at Baylor for Dave Campbell. And I wouldn't trade those 3.5 years for anything. And I've been a MCC alumnus of the year. I've been Baylor alumnus of the year. I've been honored there, and it's but the best of all was the Texas Sports Hall of Fame. When they called me and told me I was going to be in that second class, and I'm on the selection committee, and we did the original one against Dave Campbell's wishes. He would never let us do it, and he could not come to our annual meeting in which we established the ballots, and he asked me if I'd run it because he had a funeral to go to. So it's Brad Sham's idea, said, hey, what do we got to do to put some icons of journalism in here? Steve Fallon, who was the boss then, said it's against the bylaws. We said, well, can you change them? He checked, yes, let's change them. He did. And we put those 4 broadcasters and the 4 writers in, said we would never do it again. And 15 years later, they did it a second time. They called me and told me that I had been in it and who I was in with. And the biggest honor was Randy Galloway, to be in with Randy, as well as Bill Mercer and Frank Gleber and so many, Denny Freeman, so many others. There were 8 of us, Shireen Williams, my best friend in the NFL. And when they called me and told me, I was on the patio and I went in and told my wife, you're not going to believe this. She said, what? I said, I just got voted in Texas Sports Hall of Fame second media class. And I said, that's the greatest honor I've ever had. She said, oh, the Pro Football Hall of Fame is the greatest. And I said, no, you don't understand. You're not from Texas. And I went out on the patio and I sat down and started thinking about my late father, Curtis McClain, and all that way he had got me interested in sports. And I got to tell you, I cried like a baby sitting out there because I was going into the Texas Sports Hall of Fame with people like Dave Campbell and Blackie Sherrick, Mickey Herskowitz, and Dan Jenkins. So one of the things about getting old and is if you stick around long enough, you find a way. Maybe people will be lucky enough to notice. You'll be lucky enough to get noticed. And by the way, my last movie, Spring Breakers, which I played a judge with Selena Gomez and Ashley Benson and Vanessa Hutchins, that was my last one. And that was, I got to tell you, the most fun, Matt, 8 hours in a Bradenton, Florida courtroom in which I had the 4 girls in their little bikinis there, sentencing them to go back to jail. And first take, the director says, "Cut, judge, you can't sentence them without looking at them." I covered up my mic and I said, "I feel like a dirty old man." He said, "Well, you better go, if you want to be in this movie, go ahead and feel like a dirty old man." So James Franco was in it. He was great. And that was a tremendous experience.
I may have to look that up.
Spring Breakers.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Spring Breakers as a judge. I love that. Well, that's going to be fun. 6 o'clock on the 18th at the Texas Sports Hall of Fame, and very special place to you. And I was there at that induction, and that was awesome to see you guys go in. You know, Randy and I were cohorts on the radio for years, and we were so good that our station is now a religious station. We were 103.
Oh, Randy turned it into a religious station.
Yeah, that's not what Randy. Yeah, Randy retired. I remember him. The rest of us had to. I went on for another 3 years without him, and I brought Cowshaw on with me. And then Randy kept saying, "I'm sorry, I had to take the golden handcuffs." And it's like, okay, some of us have to keep working. We don't want to hear about all your golden handcuffs and everything. All right, real quick, because people will want to know this. The Texans. I understand you think highly of the Cowboys in the NFC East, but the Texans, you've been around them forever. Obviously, they got a quarterback issue. I'm kind of anxious to see what you think of that, but they certainly have have an amazing defense. And when you have that, you know, you can do other things, and maybe it makes up for some questionable quarterback play. How bullish are you on the Houston Texans right now? You've been out with them at OTAs, and I'm sure they have a mini camp coming up. But
the last day on the mini camp today.
Got it.
And I think the Cowboys are going to dethrone the Eagles in the NFC East, and I think it because they got a great offense, and I think their defense is going to be vastly improved. Love their new coordinator. Texans have been in the playoffs 3 years. Stroud has won 3 playoff games. Only 2 quarterbacks in the NFL have done that for the last 3 years. And he's done it without a running game. And they have done him a disservice with their offensive line. They've always, every year, bring in new linemen, new coaches, and they've done it again. Maybe at some point they'll get it right. Nick Caserio, the GM, has done a great job at every position but the offensive line. The defense is fantastic. It is got talent. It's got depth. It's got the best pair of edge rushers in the NFL. But the offense, they traded for David Montgomery, who's a touchdown machine in a reserve role at Detroit. He had 8 touchdowns rushing last year. Texans had 9. He has 33 over the last 3 years. They have 34. So now they get inside the 5. They might actually be able to run for a touchdown. They don't think they got an issue with Stroud. He's played very well, except in the playoffs where he stunk it up. And a big problem with that was their game plan and play calling. Because if you embarrass the Steelers in Pittsburgh in the wild card round, your defense scores 2 touchdowns. Your game plan for New England with bad weather should be to run the ball, throw short passes, don't do anything to turn it over and rely on the defense. Instead, they came out throwing. He played the worst playoff game I've ever seen. And he has not gotten an extension like Will Anderson Jr. He should have to wait till he proves himself next year before they pay him $55 million a year.
All right, you're not making a Super Bowl prediction. You're just saying they're going to win the division.
Matt, let me tell you something. I would never say the Texans are going to the Super Bowl until they actually get beyond the divisional round. They have never been beyond the divisional round. The last time we had a team in the championship game, the Oilers, after the 1979 season. It's always the divisional round, then bust.
And they ran bum off because they couldn't get past those Steelers. And I got to go back and watch that. I got to go. You said it's on Amazon. Bum, Love You Bum. Yeah, and I'm sure y'all talk to Wade and all kinds of folks. So that'll be great. Well, thank you for doing this. There's so many stories. Like, it's made me want to, the PVIL stories, separate but equal, has made me even want to go back. I know there are some artifacts in my hometown, Kaufman, that have to do with Powell High School, and I don't think they've kept it up very well or anything like that. Some of these towns, as they discover, hey, we had some pretty great football players. Oh my gosh, this was pretty amazing, even there in Houston. Hopefully this documentary leads to some of these towns maybe trying to recognize the past and do some things to honor people. And y'all even talk about Barbara Jordan and some of the people that were like enormously successful.
It goes beyond sports.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
by the way, Matt, if people want to see it, you can go maddogentertainment.tv, maddogentertainment.tv, or you can come to the Texas Sports Hall of Fame on the 18th at 6 o'clock. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be about 10 of us there, including Johnny Rowland, who will be with us in Corpus. We're driving up the next day. So thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it. Our newest one we're working on is on the life and times of Dante Pastorini and all the Oilers days, Rams, Eagles, Farrah Fawcett, all these Hollywood starlets, bad movies, and we can't wait to do that one.
We do Don Meredith next, because you just described a lot of him a little bit.
That's the truth.
His TV career. I always, those sports writers back then, by the way, sports writers used to be better friends with the players and had relationships, because of course the players didn't make so much money back in the day. And those famous old Texas sports writers, Bud Shrake and Gary Cartwright, famously or infamously, one of them, it might've been Cartwright, woke up one day after a hangover, and they had those morning newspapers and stuff, and he wrote the meanest line about Meredith ever, and it impacted their friendship forever. But I mean, you think back on all that stuff, and it's just wild. Those Cowboys teams, the writers, what's the guy, Pete Gent, who wrote North Dallas 40. I mean, there's so many unbelievable stories from back those days. So yes, I'll look very forward to Dan Pastorini, because that I'm sure as you dig into that more, you find more and more interesting stories.
Oh, we've talked to his teammates, and we're going to California where he grew up. And I just wish Farrah Fawcett was still alive to talk about their tumultuous relationship. How last time she left him in a hotel room, she wrote on the mirror in lipstick, "I love you, I want to have your baby." And then she never talked to him again.
Wow. And would later be in a movie called The Burning Bed, or
Burning
a
Bed
movie. Yeah, and Lance Rensel just died the other day. And
did he really? I didn't know that.
And that was kind of a wild story. Great player, but
Rensel and Joey Harrington.
That's right. Yeah, very troubled off the field. John, thank you. Always love catching up with you, and I encourage everybody to go out to Texas Sports Hall of Fame. A free screening. There's not much in this world that's free, and this is quite an opportunity. So no one loves the Texas Sports Hall of Fame like you do, and so thanks for doing that, and thanks for coming on today.
Matt, it's my pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
One of Baylor's finest. There he goes, John McClain, the famed NFL insider and NFL Hall of Famer. And that's pretty good. And Texas Sports Hall of Fame. Very, very exciting. All right, Kev, been a good one. And we've gone right into the 3 o'clock hour. Thank you. This is the Landing. We're so appreciative of the Brazos Landing. I'll run by there tomorrow on my way. And just remember, we've got the Dancing Bear Pub. Tomorrow, we're going to do a special show, so don't look for me at 1. We're going to do a 4 to 6 show. We'll play it up on social media. We'll be at the Dancing Bear. There'll be drink specials. That's a really neat place to watch the game. The game doesn't start until 8 o'clock, but show up at 4, hang out with us, and we'll kind of get everybody fired up for the World Cup. And in fact, we've got somebody from the Waco Soccer Club that's going to come by and hang out with us a little bit. It'll be a fun day right there at the Dancing Bear Pub in Waco, Texas. And we encourage everybody to show up and be a part of that special show. Kevin, anything else we need to say? Are we good? We had the basketball schedule drop. We had John on. What an interesting day. I was going to look at Kevin's last thing. Stanley Cup Game 5 coming up. That series is tied 2-2. That'll be exciting. That is on ESPN tonight. Hey, ESPN. They got the NBA Finals on ABC. And then, of course, we've got the Stanley Cup Final Game 5. This should be fun between the Hurricanes and the Golden Knights. And let's remember everything that's happening tomorrow at the Dancing Bear Pub. Kevin, we do have a 1-0 lead at halftime. Mexico up 1-0. All right, and so we are off and running in the World Cup opener. Mexico, USA, and Paraguay. That's an 8 p.m. Start tomorrow night. That game is on Fox, and we'll be doing that. We got a rain delay, by the way. Rangers in Kansas City. Rain delay in that one. That must mean it's in Kansas City because they could close the roof around here. Anything else? Ruggs got denied parole. You remember Ruggs, the player for the Raiders that killed a woman in a car crash in Las Vegas. He was denied his parole nearly 5 years after killing a woman in a car crash in Las Vegas. Okay. Drove a sports car at speeds up to 156 miles per hour. So that coming down earlier today. And the Broncos did reward Sean Payton with a new 5-year contract. He's 62 years old. He had 2 years remaining on his current contract. The 5-year deal replaces that contract. Financial details, we don't have those yet, but Broncos end up rewarding Sean Payton for getting them to the AFC title game. And let's see where he ranks now. Sean Payton, 194 wins in 312 games. Pretty dang good career. I covered him when he was coaching the offensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. Then, of course, he went to the New Orleans Saints and won the only Super Bowl that he's won. And then he'll try to do that next with the Denver Broncos. My gosh, Kevin. I mean, we might as well have done 3 hours today. We'll see you at the Dancing Bear Pub tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Remember, the show starts at 4 tomorrow, 4 to 6 in Waco. We'll see you soon. Good night, everybody.
As part of Central National Bank's partnership with Baylor Women's Basketball, we ask Coach Collin to take a shot at improving the efficiency of our drive-thru.
The lane is open! Drive the lane! Attack the lane! Go! 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 Go!
We have a few kinks to work out.
Is this what you had in mind when you invited her?
No. I think you should say something to her.
Me?
Let's make Craig do it.
Okay, yeah.
You're gonna take this canister and you're gonna shoot it up.
Be all right. Be all right. Just be confident. Hey, Coach. Can I have a word with you?
Craig, not right now! I'm with a customer.
Okay.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.